Yo, what's going on guys? J Cloud here. Today, I'm back with another Jujutsu Kaisen video, reviewing chapter 157, and man, HAKARI'S delivers again, giving us another good chapter. However, before we go any further, if you have not read the chapter yet, join my Discord. The link for that will be in the pinned comment. The link for the chapter will be pinned in the Jujutsu Kaisen section. And as always, leave a like on the video, and if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with notification bells on. I appreciate it in advance. Now, let's talk about Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 157, titled Cog. So this chapter begins with Kirara knocked to the ground by Megumi that figured out how to deal with Kirara's star constellation curse technique, which was called Love Rendezvous, which is a curse technique that a lot of people were still confused with. But if you need proper understanding, check out my last review because I did break down Kirara's curse technique to full detail. Now, Kirara asked Megumi how was he even able to figure out the curse technique, and he explained that the one with the higher curse energy attracts the other, right? Which we know that her star constellation technique attract those who are marked by the same star. However, he found a loophole in Kirara's curse technique, which allowed him to make the divine dog pull towards him when he guarded Kirara's attack. HAKARI'S is really showing how much of a beast Megumi is, always thinking 2 steps ahead of his opponents, and besides his curse technique, but that's really what's going to make him stand out when he's fighting other Jujutsu sorcerers in battle. Now, after this, he did get off Kirara and once again asked Kirara to listen to what we have to say, showing that he's really not here to fight and he needs Kirara to listen. And Kirara eventually listens because now she understands that in the situation that they're in, they are really desperate. Now Kirara knows what Megumi said in chapter 155 when he stated that Gojo has been sealed. Kirara now knows that Megumi is extremely serious. Now honestly, I didn't expect Kirara and Megumi to be fighting that long once he figured out the curse technique, mainly because Kirara always seemed like the kind of person that was going to be willing to listen to them before Hakari anyways. So this was going to be a more serious task for Yuji, and man, it was. We see Yuji flying out of the room in the middle of the conversation that Megumi and Kirara was having once Kirara was ready to listen, and you can tell from Yuji's face that he's been beaten up pretty badly from Hakari. And based off Hakari's face in comparison to Yuji, despite his previous scars, Hakari seemed like he really hasn't been touched this entire fight since that headbutt. However, HAKARI'S really showed and demonstrated the physical aspect of Hakari. I mean, this guy is buff just like Todo, so you know once he hits you, even without using curse energy, it's going to hurt. The guy looks like he lift weights and do 200 push-ups every day behind the scenes. I think Yuji probably met another person who was comparable in physical power on the same tier as him and Todo. Now, you see that Megumi and Panda, they get worried about Yuji. They're ready to join in to help him, but Yuji tells them to stay back, don't join the fight. However, Hakari feels like Yuji just disrespects him, saying that don't disrespect me, and punches him with a hard overhand right. However, once he does this, Hakari and everyone start to notice that Yuji is not defending himself. He's not openly saying it, but he is refusing to fight. And getting punched like that so hard, he was able to stand right back up. Which at this point you can tell that Hakari might have just broken Yuji's nose, but he still isn't going down and has no guard up. However, Hakari is so surprised that Yuji stood up after that, calling him insane, which is very insane to be taking that kind of damage and to still be standing up. Hakari is stunned and yet amazed by Yuji's durability, and this is something I'm not too surprised about because he did do something similar to this when he was fighting Todo, after getting his head stumped in. Now he did talk about that this is different, it's a different scenario and a different battle than what happened in Shibuya. This time, this is more of a ritual for the approval of Hakari, so he will no longer dodge, he will not fight back. Which is understandable because Yuji is in a position to sway Hakari to be on their side. He's not there to pick a fight. And most likely this will make things even worse if he did fight back. Hakari then says, interesting, I'm willing to listen whatever you have to say for as long as you remain standing, which is very brutal, man. This guy is something else. Because we then start to see he's covering his body with curse energy, which in turn is going to make his punches more impactful and is going to be harder for Yuji to keep standing. But you can tell that even despite the fact that he said he was going to listen to Yuji, he still wants to punch him. And Kirara tells him that the kids want your help. You need to listen to them, hear them out. And he replies back saying that, yeah, I'm going to listen to them, I just said that. However, they are so confused because they're like, why are you still trying to punch Yuji if you said you were going to listen? This is a prime example that Hakari is sort of a douchebag as well. But this is also his way to see how serious Yuji is if he can remain standing by getting punched in the face so many times. However, he asks Yuji, why even come to me? This is the first time we ever met. What do you need from me? Yuji responds saying that the upper class has informed me that you are strong. And he punches Yuji with a uppercut saying, yeah, that's what I thought. Because the answer that Yuji gave him was not good enough. Hakari is trying to find Yuji's purpose and his resolve of why he's even there to begin with. Now with Yuji, after getting rattled by Hakari's punches again, he talks about despite the impact of those punches, they are extremely painful. It feels like I'm getting hit with a baseball bat with razor blades on it. A very specific analogy that Yuji used right there, because I don't think anybody wants to experience getting punched in the face like that when you are comparing getting hit with a baseball bat with razors on it. It makes me question, did Yuji ever get hit with a baseball bat with razors on it? I hope not. But I wouldn't be surprised because the durability of this guy is extremely rare. Now we find out why Hakari was so pissed by that answer that Yuji gave him when he punched him in the face, and he explains that when you ask a sorcerer for help, you're pretty much saying, can you please put your life on the line for me? Can you risk your life? You need to convey a fever worthy for me to risk my life. But instead, you came here because you were told to? What is old man Yaga doing these days? And man, if he only knew that Principal Yaga is dead right now. They are so in the dark to everything that has been going on. I can only imagine how Kirara and Hakari going to react when they find out everything that happened in Shibuya. However, Yuji explains to Hakari that he doesn't have a fever. He is a cog. A cog for Jujutsu sorcerers to continue to exercise curses. This is something that Yuji said back in chapter 132 to Mahito when he talked about that he is a cog in the grand scheme of things and nothing more. He believes that is his role. When Hakari hears this, he's like, are you serious? That is so boring. And he punches Yuji yet again, and this time, this is by far the hardest punch he has thrown the entire fight, to the point where Hakari questioned did he kill him. Hakari also brought up Gojo this chapter, saying that Gojo told him that his curse powers are even more rougher than other people's. This lets us know that also Gojo might have trained Hakari when he was younger, most likely probably when he was a first year, explaining and teaching him how to use and balance out his curse energy. Same thing he did for Yuji before. Now, Hakari, he thinks that Yuji is down for the count, but Yuji is standing up right behind him. And Hakari is extremely spooked out by this. He's like, this guy is something else. And Yuji once again explains that he is a cog, and a cog's role is to keep the wheels going. And that job is to exercise curses, nothing more. And if your help is needed to do that, then I will follow you everywhere until you say yes. And Hakari at this point, he sees the true resolve on Yuji. Yuji's face is beaten up, is bloody, he's still standing up, and he walks to Hakari and asks him, what is your role? And Hakari, he sees the fever that he's been seeking from Yuji in his eyes. And also, Hakari mentioned to Yuji before the fight that he loves people with passion. So, in other words, he sees the passion on Yuji. Kirara screams at him and say that, hey, aren't you getting a little heated? And he finally admits to it. He knows that he cannot turn down Yuji at this point, and he finally agrees to hear them out. Now, at the end of this chapter, Kirara mentioned that they both hate the higher-ups. However, back at school, Hakari's fever was at its peak when he is helping people in school. So that lets us know that when it comes to helping people, that's where he truly excels. Because even Yuta mentioned that when Hakari is serious, he's probably stronger than me. So his fever is going to be even more at peak once he finds out that Gojo has been sealed, Principal Yaga has died. So many things have changed since they've been suspended. And from here on out, I believe that this is when things get a little more serious throughout the next chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen. Things are going to take a huge turn. Speaking of turn, you can hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications to see more Jujutsu Kaisen content from me right to your YouTube feed. You guys have an awesome life. Take care of yourselves. Stay blessed, and I'm out.